Join us as we share our experiences, strength, and hope. When the world says, give up, hope whispers, try it one more time.
Welcome back to Sharing Our Stories. How are you doing, Mile High? My name is Slim, along with Tomas Hernandez from Tribe Recovery Homes, and Nani, our producer extraordinaire. And this is Sharing Our Stories, and this program is all about addiction and recovery. And we have a great guest coming in today to talk about their life, their struggles with addiction, and where they are in their recovery. And they also run a really awesome organization called the NXTChapter, the NXTChapter, which helps with reentry for men and women coming out of prison. So I'm very excited to have our guest today. So before we get to her and get this program started, Tomas Hernandez from Tribe Recovery Homes, thank you so much for the work that you guys do. Tribe Recovery Homes is the sponsor of this program and are the reason why we are able to exist on your airwaves. So Tomas with Tribe Recovery Homes, tell everybody a little bit about what Tribe Recovery Homes does.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, I'm Tomas. I'm the founder of Tribe Recovery Homes. Tribe Recovery Homes is a mental health, addiction, and reentry program. We started as sober living. Now we are full-on treatment from residential all the way down. We're in 2 states, from Colorado to Nevada, Las Vegas, Denver, Boulder area, Aurora, Denver Metro.
What would be your mission statement?
Basically, you do drugs, you drink too much, you end up with a ticket, you're in a pre and a post incarceration, you're getting out, you have nothing, you come see us. We're one of the main partners that have that philosophy. But what makes Tribe unique is we are pretty jam-packed with lived experience folks, multicultural folks. Will find that program for you. We have a very good star-studded cast of women that work with women in our program. Nani is one of them that works directly with our women program and building that. I'm pretty happy about that. Big shout out to Melissa and Deborah, Nani, Julia, everybody that's on our staff, that our therapists out there that do a great job doing that, our clinical director, Ozzy. We are just a family away from your family. If you've lost your family, if you need a family, we're there. Good 100+ beds, 4 different locations, 5 with Las Vegas, and we're very proud of what we've done. Me and Dan Singer, my co-founder, basically started this from basically nothing. We lived in the houses. For one, we didn't have nowhere to go, so we basically lived with our guys, and it was a male program. He had his role, I had my role, and by the grace of God, it blew up to what it is today. We're pretty proud of that. So if you want to get a hold of us, basically get us on www.triberecoveryhomes.com. There's a thing that says apply here. Put your application in, and one of our intake specialists will get back to you. And if you're not a fit for our program, or you find that we're not your cup of coffee, we're going to find a community partner such as the young lady sitting right next to me and many others that are out there, and try to get you that fit. So it's not just, oh, sorry, we can't help you. No. See you later. We don't work like that. We find what you need, how you need it, and we don't hate. We don't compete with others. We partner with others, and I'm pretty excited about sitting with our guest today, Josie, a very good friend of mine, brother. I am a Prince Hall Mason, proud Prince Hall Mason, Centennial Lodge 4. Her partner, 6'7", is one of my Prince Hall Mason brothers, and they do some great work out there. They're really hitting it hard. They're original Denver, original Park Hill area, original people that know our neighborhood, and I'm really excited to be quiet and listen to what she's got to say. Being excited about being quiet. I know my wife's probably hearing that, like, yeah, right.
Yeah, for real.
But with that being said, I'm just really, really honored to be here with all of you good folks. And also, I want to give a shout out to a new sponsor we have, Caring for Denver. Larez and all them for what they're about to do for us to make this show catapult to the next level. Also with Merge Media, it's been this great, great new studio that we have for sharing our stories. And the biggest thing is Slim for making this happen, just making an idea.
Well, thanks.
But I mean, you've taken this SOS thing from just something small, and a lot of people don't know how to give Slim his due. First, he's one of the original best and not only hosts, MCs, and executives in broadcasting. He's also a man of long-term in recovery, and he's also a man that came up with the brainchild of sharing our stories.
Well, thank you.
That's huge for us. We've had thousands of hundreds of guests, which will multiply into thousands, and soon. How we're going to do it is going to be in a few states.
I would love that. Our goal here each week is just if we can reach one person that's listening or watching and influence them to start their pathway to their recovery, or maybe understand a friend or a family member who might be dealing with an addiction that maybe you didn't understand how to talk to them or understand what they're going through yet. Hopefully, this program helps you to relate to them a little bit more. And if we can reach one person and start them on their pathway, then we have succeeded. And if you are looking to start your recovery and you don't know what to do, you don't know what to Google or who to call, you can call somebody at Tribe Recovery Homes and they will help you. They will answer those questions to help you find that pathway to your recovery, and that number is 720-60-TRIBE. Malhai, I want to get started with our guest here before we eat up all of her time. You run an organization called the NXTChapter, the NXTChapter, and it's for people re-entry from prison. Can you tell us a little bit about that organization?
Yeah, we kind of do what Tribe is doing, reach the community that needs help reintegrating back into society.
We're going to turn this over to Josie Burton. She is our guest, and she is the president of the NXTChapter. And here is Josie Burton on sharing our stories. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for that introduction. And so I'm going to get a little started on my backstory. I came from parents that were immigrants, and my dad was the dealer and my mom was she had the addiction. And so my dad fed her, her addiction and stuff like that. And it caused me to grow up in the system. I got taken away from my parents when I was 6 years old. And so I was in foster care, which graduated me to group homes and detention centers and all that. And I constantly was running away. I have addiction to the streets at this point now. And so everything that came with the streets is what I indulged in. And so I learned real fast, though. And so I came up here to Colorado when I was 17, 18 years old with my baby, and he was 1 year old. And I didn't know nobody here. The land was foreign to me, and I had got involved with the wrong crowd. So in the mix of getting involved with the wrong crowd, I lost my son. I caught cases. I was just in a mess. And so I eventually wanted this street life and didn't know too much about it. And as I was in it, I was realizing that this ain't for me. And so I end up being addicted to drugs, end up telling on people during cases. So now I'm running for my life, getting shot at and having to hide and all this stuff. And it wasn't until I was 19 that I got sentenced to community corrections, 7 years. I was a DOC client, but by the grace of God, they gave me community corrections. So the deal was, if I mess up, I'm going straight to DOC, no ifs, ands, and buts about it. And so when I got into community corrections, I didn't know what I was doing, and I had got out of jail. They let me wait for my bed outside. But these people that I've robbed, I stolen from, told on, did all this stuff were after me. So it wasn't until I met this family, and they're called like the Harris family. That's their names. And they took this stray in, and they taught me all the things I needed to be taught to get my life on track. But I was still hard-headed. Now I'm putting them in situations where they having to defend their life and mine, because of all the ruckus I was causing and stuff like that. And so as I get in the halfway house, I'm still addicted to my behaviors and stuff. I go in there and I try to sell drugs and stuff in there, which you can't do. And so I ran because they were threatening to put me in jail. And that's when I feel like God kind of shifted my life and saved me, because I had a caseworker and the director call me and say, we're going to give you 24 hours to think about your decision. You can stay out there for 24 hours. When you come back, you need to be on track. We're not going to take you to jail, none of that. So me getting nervous, like, yeah, right. Yeah, but I had, the Harris family was like, you need to do this. You can do this. And they, inspired me to go back and do my program. And yeah, I did face a lot of obstacles and challenges with that, because I relapsed. I I reoffended. I did all those things, but eventually I got it done. And the hardest part to me was when that parole officer, because I was a DLC client, I got a parole officer. And they gave me a to-do list. I didn't understand what I was supposed to do. The land was foreign. I spent my time in the streets. I didn't spend my time doing anything that I was supposed to be doing to get on track, so I didn't know where to start. And so that's when I started thinking, there's got to be more people like me. So that's how Next Chapter came about, is because I was like, I want to help individuals like me. And coming from a background to where I was, sexually molested, raped, and all those things, I used to use that as my excuse. And I used to dwell in drugs like ecstasy and, acid and all those things I had no business doing because I wanted to live in that pity, like, poor me, I got this life and I didn't ask for it, when I could have changed my life and it was on me. I had to wake up and realize that, though. And so with the support of the Harrises, shout out to the Harrises, helping me change my life and get me back on track, that's why I'm here today. That's why I have the Next Chapter, because now I got a squad full of people that suffered in damn near the same situations as me, to be able to go out here and heal the community that we help kind of mess up. And now I'm in these spaces. I never see my life going to where I'll be on radio stations, TV, news. And now I have girls coming up to me that's like, you were molested too? You were raped too? I was too. I was scared to tell people. How'd you get past that? And it took a lot of therapy. And when I say therapy, not necessarily therapy with counselors and stuff like that, but with self-therapy, going to God, reading my Bible, cleansing my soul with, books that will give me information on how to heal. My mom, what kind of also did it is when I got released, I was in jail for 2 years of back and forth on writs and stuff like that before I got sentenced to community corrections. And I was writing my mom and telling her, like, can you take my son? Because now he's in the system. And she had wrote me back and told me, like, I'm dying, I can't take him. So my mom was an addict, so I didn't really believe her. And so 2 weeks after I got out of jail, she did pass, So I now realize my support system is gone. So I couldn't lean on that. I had to hit the ground running. And, I was already emancipated at 14 years old in the independent living program. And I kind of didn't do that. I ran off, so I didn't get the stuff I was supposed to get from that to learn how to do it at 18 and 19 on my own because of the decisions I made. So with her not being there, it really opened the world up to me. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm really out here having to strive and live and learn it. And so it was a lot. And I'm glad that God has shifted my life to where I am now so that I'd be able to do that. And you guys ain't supposed to be having me cry on the show. That's not supposed to happen. I didn't think that was going to happen. So I thank y'all for having me. And I thank you for letting me get my story out, because the more that I do this, I reach souls and I let them know that I'm the example to you. You can do it. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take a lot of work. It's not going to be easy. You need good support systems in place. And if you need me to be that for you, I can be that too. And I got great support systems now that I've changed my life over. And the biggest one for me is God. Without him, I can't do any of this. It's been a long, long journey. And for a long time, I thought I could do it without him. And it
wasn't working.
It wasn't. I needed that strength. And now I'm here.
What made you finally say, you know what, I got to change? I need things to change.
It started to scare me, like this street life that everybody was trying to keep me from. I ran full-fledged into it, and then I realized after I was in so much stuff that this ain't for me. I'm scared of it. I will be completely honest. It was too much. I'm not about that street life. After being in there and seeing some of the stuff you get to see in that street life, when your parents tell you it's either jail or death, that's really what it is. But at that point in time, when you're a kid, you're not able to sense that. You're just running out there.
And invincible.
Yeah. And so now that I'm older and while I was in that street life, I got to see it firsthand. That's all that's out there. And so I thank God for saving my life, because there's a few times that, he made that bullet miss me, and I thank him for that, because now I'm raising 9 boys and I'm showing them the correct way. They're a little hard-headed too. They have some of my traits in them.
Yeah. Let me ask you, multiple states getting here trusting another family like the Harris family. Happen to be a strong example, black woman in recovery. What does that look like? What does that journey look like for you? You've mentioned the strength in the core of being God and spirituality, but on a day-to-day basis, if I was to bring one of my beautiful daughters, please do not ever let them have to touch addiction like that we have, and I have to find somebody on the street or in an organization to bring my babies to you. What would you say is a message having a 19, 25, 30-year-old young, strong, confused black woman in front of you? What does that look like for her?
First of all, I would just tell her, you got to believe in yourself. This journey is not going to be easy. You're going to have a lot of obstacles and challenges, and you're going to have to build your self-esteem up while going through some of these doors, because there's going to be some rejection in there, and it's going to be hard work, because it's all hard work. I tell people it's even hard work sometimes to be a homeless person, you know, because you're going to have to find that meal, that shower, and all, that's all work. But you can do it if you believe in you. You have to want it. You know, eventually you got to get tired of living that same cycle and not getting nowhere. It's like being in a hamster wheel. And to tell her, like, and this is the example, I'm going to do it side by side with you. We can do it together, because I'm still a work in progress. I'm still waking up every day striving to be in recovery. I'm in recovery every day. I'm trying not to go back.
Absolutely.
This is not a few-month process, a few-year process. This is every day. This is life.
Life now.
Yeah.
And life in general is work. People just have to start looking at it that way. Anything that we hop into is going to be work. I don't care what it is.
Love that. The core of that, basically, the message is hard work. And that's, you know, one of my first mentors was always hard work beats talent when talent don't show up for hard work. And those mantras in my head every day. I get up to hard work. I'm outbeat you. I'm outwork you. I'm outwork my addiction, ideology. I'm gonna outwork temptation. I'm outwork whatever I can to make sure that I can stay just for one day to be on this deck, on this playing field for one more day. Another question that I got is this. What's the reality today? What you think of the scope of what the challenges of what we're looking at? We have our babies. You have 9 kids.
9 boys.
Struggling right now. And they looking up to you, Mom, I got X, Y, and Z out here messing up. Where I got to take them, because they see you as a community leader. What can you and your organization, and you know, I see Markel Burton on here, James Harris, you know, your brother that's in the crowd here. Where did they go? You know, we got a lot of violence that are happening in these streets besides just recovery. What can your organization connect them to? Where can they find hope? Where can they find peace?
Well, we're partnered with a lot of people. So what happened is we learned all the steps that we needed to take when we got out of incarceration, right? And what we were realizing is that we were connecting to a whole bunch of resources, but they were spread out across the city. So we were like, that's a lot of traveling and stuff. Why don't we create something that's more like a one-stop shop, have everything for them in-house? And so I reached out to a lot of people, like Cross Purpose is one of my partners, and they offer the vocational training for them. And so they give them skilled trades and all that, and they come in there and they get personal growth and development. They get training for jobs, and they could be felons and have criminal backgrounds and start doing jobs that they didn't even think they could do, like being a legal admin. You're now in a law firm with a criminal background typing up subpoenas. A lot of us just don't know where this opportunity is. So what me and my team did is went and found the opportunity, and now we bring it to the community. Wow. So now we give you a laptop. We pay for your GED if you don't have your GED. After you do GED, if you want to get more than just a job, we can get you employed in a career track. So after you do this 6 months program, you're going right into that career track. If you don't want to do that and you want just a job just now because time is passing, you're in the halfway house, you need some money right quick to get on your feet, we get you a job. We're partnered with staffing agencies that'll have you working tomorrow. So if you get out today, you'll be working tomorrow. And we took those steps. We did all the footwork. We're going to connect you to all the resources, even the children, because our youth is the ones being targeted right now. We're not hearing so much of our elders passing and stuff as these youth. So that's our main concern.
Exactly, because I'm on the commission on a lot of different levels, from the state to the city level, and my friends are a lot of now police officers that are working in these youth correction facilities, correctional officers, and
it's crazy you say that, because my dream was always to be a police officer. Of course, I went on the other side of that. But it's funny how God led me straight to now we work with them. Them as our colleagues. And I never seen myself on this side. I was just in a women's prison the other day, and we're sitting on the other side of the desk, helping them and stuff. I didn't see myself doing that. We're in parole on the other side of the desk, so I'm now feeling like I got tested, and now I'm a testimony, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So tell me what that means to you to be that testimony, that how, as a woman in long-term recovery, a community leader, somebody that is a connector of all beautiful things through God, on a daily basis, how does that feel, that achievement, that I'm here, that grace of God, how does that feel? Tell our audience how that feels to be that shining, that waking up moment, to be validated and to be needed.
It's a blessing. I'll tell you how much of a blessing it is. So some of these people that I stole from and I was running from, that pulled these guns out on me and were chasing me, they're on the other side of my desk now. And now I'm able to help them. Yeah. And it's amazing. They didn't see me going there either. They, it's like, wow, I'm getting help from you, and you turned your life around. So some of them even forgot the dirt that I've done.
Okay.
And forgave me because I paid it forward with helping them. I just was making mistakes. That's all. I wasn't my mistake.
I shared that with you the other day. I was at the gym, and those things that you do that you really like, look at yourself when you do your step work, you look at everything. It was like, man, that was so bad. I wish I could make amends with that person.
Right.
I got an opportunity the other day. A guy walked into the 24-hour fitness that I just did wrong. I did him wrong. He was on his way back. I had some of his tattoo gear, and I put it on social media, and I did some things that I'm not proud of. And I always thought about him, and I was like, man, if I could just ever get back to him. And he's one of those guys that I would literally let him punch me in the mouth for what I did. You know what I mean? And let him get away with that. But instead, he needed help, and I said, I'm sorry, with tears in my eyes. I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm sorry. You were a friend, and I betrayed you. And he didn't even think about that. He just gave me a hug and just was like, hey, man, I just need help. I got on that phone as quick as I could, and he's doing great. And he's he's clean. He's in the program. And he's doing well. And I got that, man, it was just one of those things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that you're like, man, I wish I'd have never done that. But I got to give back to that gentleman, and
blessing.
And that's all God right there. Mm-hmm. So that feeling that I know how you feel there.
And for a long time, I used to always question God. My relationship always wasn't good with God. I used to be like, why did I get this life? Why did I get those parents? Why did I, all this stuff, trying to just find blame. And then now it's to the point where I feel like I had to come up that way and go through them things so that I'd be able to stand on this side of the fence, to be able to be the example to my peers and understand it thoroughly. Because now I have the relatability with those across from me, yes. And now I'm able to dig in and help you in a way I didn't see before.
That's interesting, because you know what, we have the same ideology. What I'm feeling is that I'm sure that the audience would like to know, what does it feel like to be an actual servant of God? Not just to regurgitate what's in the Bible, because we know we got those people that are out there that they can make a toothbrush part of Corinthians 7, 8, 9. You know what I mean? And they could do all that stuff real quick and start saying some stuff. But like really being a true servant of God that radiates through your kids, through your family, through your organization. How does that feel when people are saying, hey, I am going to give my life to Jesus. I am going to work for this community. How do you do that? How does that relationship look? How does that feel? What is the responsibility to that?
Well, I will tell you this first. When people used to say that to me, because we've been in places where our elders used to tell us that and whatnot, and so I used to be like, they're crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. But it wasn't until I gave my life over to Christ where I felt like now I'm serving him. I have a mission. My mission statement is him. And it's instilled in me to provide a service to his people. And that's how I'm looking at it. I'm just like one of these walking disciples out here serving God and making sure that I let everybody know this is how I got here. This is how you're going to get there. And you can't do it on your own. You need that type of strength because all the stuff we do, like in this nonprofit community world, it ain't nothing but God giving us strength. Yeah. We could not do this on our own.
No way.
Yeah, especially with your 4 hours of sleep, you said?
Yeah. I run off just straight energy because I feel, and it may not be healthy, but, it's, I made a deal with him that as soon as I stop helping, that's what I tell my wife, that I'm dead in the water. That's the deal. To get my life back, I got to keep helping. I got to keep creating. And I know I go overboard with it because, that's just part of my condition.
But you already know what's on the other side of that.
Exactly.
Once you stop, we all been exposed to what's on the other side. We all see it. So there ain't nothing but moving forward or stay stagnant in that hamster wheel and continue to be in that same cycle. And I can't do that. I want too much for my family, myself, and for the people I'm helping. So my job is to inspire souls to move forward with their life and let them know that they can do it. Why? Because I'm an example in front of you. I've been right where you are.
That does bring another question. What does a day-to-day outreach for your team look like? What does that look like? You met Slim at Juneteenth. You're everywhere. I've heard your name everywhere, and this is the first time I'm actually sitting by you. 6'7" gonna kick my butt. I was supposed to meet up with him in Vegas. I owe him big. I'm gonna have to fly him back out. That's my guy because he's all heart.
He was actually supposed to be here with me today, but
he's all heart. You know what I mean? He's and that's what I love about your organization.
Who is 6'7"? You have to fill us in.
He's BOYZ.
BOYZ.
Yeah, they're a nonprofit organization that works with the youth.
Okay.
And so they're kind of all over the place as well, but they're more stationed in the Park Hill, and they used to be a gang.
Yep.
And now the redemption story is helping the youth so they don't go to where they just came from.
Okay.
Yeah, 6'7" is a Prince Hall Mason brother of mine. And
awesome.
Literally, we call him 6'7" because he's 6'7".
Well, I want everybody to know who he is.
We got to get him in here on the interview. But like what I'm saying is, it's amazing to know that you're so busy. What does outreach to reach your community look like for your organization? What does that look like? I'm looking at your flyer here. Mr. Harris is out there. He's a project manager, treasurer. He's out there fundraising, and you are boots on the ground.
Yes.
You are the one that's pulling it in. What does that look like on a day-to-day basis for you and your organization? How does that look?
A lot. But we're out here in the community. It's like we hit all cities. Like I told you, we're in Aurora, we're in the halfway houses, we're in sober livings, we're in parole offices. We're anywhere where they need our help. We're in schools, there ain't nowhere we're not. And we just sometimes decide as a team, let's get, our gear, let's go out here, hand out some hygiene, let's hand out some sandwiches or whatever. We just are in the community. It needs healing. And we took part in messing it up. So it's only right that we kind of try to put back in, to make it right.
Recovery always seems to revolve so much around organizations for men. And women seem to be the forgotten ones in recovery so often, but especially minority women and black women. And what do you say to women struggling in addiction who don't feel heard?
I feel the opposite of you.
Good, please.
I feel like
please,
there's a whole bunch of help for the women.
I want to hear it.
And I feel like our men doesn't have a lot of help.
Really?
Because there's housing for women. They say you can get housing and all that stuff, but the man can't be there and all that stuff. So it puts our men to be back out there in the streets, hard pushing and taking chances to either relapse or reoffend. So I got really passionate because I'm watching my 9 sons, and they're about to hit the ground running. Yeah. And I just want to make sure they're set up because they are black men, where there will be, and so that's where I became
also
passionate.
Forgotten in the world of recovery.
Yeah, you know, so the clarification on that, I love what she said, because in the treatment world, it's reverse. In the treatment world, on sober living, those things, well, it's kind of more evening out now. But as long-term housing is what she's saying, to find places to live, men don't have a fighting chance. It's all for women.
And most of the time, you know, I'm not trying to sound biased or anything like that. They let our women go get TANF and put the father on child support and all that. And that's a good thing. I'm not saying that's negative or whatever. But where's the TANF for the men? Like, where's their setup? Where's their jump start? You know, and I'm coming from, we want these homes to have two-parent households. Maybe it would stop some of the violence with them boys in the street with this chaos. And so I'm more passionate about helping women, but the men, because
I want to hear it.
Yeah, because you know what, you're the outlet. Because you know, in our treatment center is basically like this. I don't have the time to bridge that gap between the male figure has failed America, in my opinion. Boys are not trusting men to be men, so they trust mom, auntie, grandma.
Yes,
anybody that's raising them. They're not going to, like my stepson, my son. It took me a few years to earn his trust to even say that, hey, Dad, I love you.
right.
And I don't have that time in a treatment center. I got to have a hard-hitting woman like you just talk to this young man, or this young man's ideology in his head that could be 40, 50, 60 years old, because that's all that he knows, and that's where it's at.
Well,
And
that's because they tell y'all men that y'all can't be emotional, right? That don't wear your heart on your sleeve. You have to hit the ground running. You got to hit it. And the women are over here taking care of the babies. They can be emotional. They can go get assistance. They're so quick to help women. That's why I said I'm on the other side of this. I can go get help quicker than he can. You know, and they're willing to give it to me for free.
I always hear of all these homes, these recovery homes for men, and I don't hear about a lot for women. And I meet less women in recovery than I do men.
Then you got to get out more,
because
there's a whole bunch of recovery for women.
Take me out. You know. Well, I want recovery for everybody.
Yeah. That's whoever needs it. That's true.
You know, and I want people that feel unreported or like they don't have any attention given to them to hear to have their voice be heard.
Right.
You know, and I don't hear from enough Black women in recovery to share with those women out there that are suffering. And I want that message out there that, you know what, you got a support system here too, and we're here for you too. We're here for everybody.
I'm here for everybody. No discrimination.
You know? Yeah, exactly.
You know,
for everybody.
Tribe might be a sponsor, a small piece of this in the launching board, but I sponsor this show for y'all.
Thank you.
So we can, you know, get more community organizations. You know, like some of my favorite organizations. One of my biggest mentors that on earth love this organization, Hassan Latif, Second Chance Center. That man is giving me more opportunities than I ever thought, and I could never hate on another organization or even try to compete. I compete with myself. You know, I got Hazelbrook out there that I always work with him all the time, man. Me and Gino are really, really close, tight friends, you know. Sherry from Aurora Sober Living, she helped get me clean off the street. She gave me my first scholarship. I had nothing. With Sherry. You know what I mean? Sherry gave me the blues more than I could even think of. You know what I mean? And
you know what I tell people? We're like superheroes. You know, have y'all seen all them movies with the superheroes? And then we go in deliberation, we Superman, Hawk, and all that. And now we talking about how we going to go out here and impact the community. So that's what we all do. It's the collaboration in it, because it's going to take, they say it takes a village to raise a child, right?
Absolutely.
So what you think it takes community.
Absolutely. And you know what? And we have a listener that has a request. Okay. We have our producer that she says, I would love to hear from the other woman on the panel. Why hasn't she said anything?
Ooh. Well, yeah. So
what exactly do you feel about this conversation?
So what I feel about this conversation, I love it. I think, so I hear you, and I want to validate that. I do believe that there are a lot of resources for women, and I appreciate, and I think that there's a lot to be said that there are resources for men. And I feel like I think that it is becoming a lot better for women. Mm-hmm. It is getting better out there for women. But it is still very limited in the recovery world for women, right? And I think we're changing the narrative, which is really important, that it's getting better for women in recovery homes, but it is still very limited right now. And overall, I think that I really love and appreciate what you're doing. And I going out and doing outreach and inreach is so valuable. And all the work that all of our community partners are doing together. And I think, like Tomas was saying, like you just said, this is an entire village of people. It takes an entire village of people to come together and continuing to work together, because what one partnership can't do, we can all do together. And that's so huge,
The scope of the view of a partnership was taught to me like this. It's about gaps of service. You fill those gaps of service. If you look at it like the state of Colorado, we've got a lot of great knowledge on this show about what's missing on both sides. And they're both valid. Mine right now in Colorado, it is the youth. We have no hospitalization. We have no detox. We have no chances for them. They're out there not being cared about, so they don't care. And that's where they're at. So those gaps of services on community partners, if you're out there, please reach out to the show, reach out to Nani, our producer out here, so we can get you on this show so I could be proven wrong on that, because I love being proven wrong in recovery when I think I got an opinion about something. You know what I mean? Go ahead and show me. Please get me in your phone book. Please get me in your phone book as quick as possible, because we need those resources out for people like me that don't know right now. And you are existing with a building, with services, with people changing lives, just like yourself on this show today. And we really, on the gaps of services, really need to come together and stop competing and start helping together, because we are one of the biggest markets in the United States now. We are one of the biggest cities. We are also the second violent in the nation. We are also the first in property crime. And we are also very, very legalized in a lot of substance abuse and progressive on a lot of different things that we are doing. When in Rome, we're Rome right now. And we're reaching out to Rome to get out here and help. So that brings to the next question. How can somebody that loves your organization, listening to you, what they can do to contribute back to your organization? How can they volunteer? How can they donate? How can they get involved? How can they get these things going? Because they believe in you, Josie. They're hearing you. They're watching you online. How do they do that?
They could just go to NXTChapter.org, and there's a volunteer button, there's a donate button, and there's a button where you can just contact one of our peer navigators, and we're on call. So we're always providing that support. We don't want you to relapse, reoffend, none of those things. So they can go hit those buttons on the website.
And that is NXTChapter.org?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Without the E.
Without the E.
Yes.
NXTChapter.
Wanted to be a little different.
Yes.
So CHAPTR.org?
Yes,
okay.
chapter.
She liked my tattoos. Some of the stuff ain't spelt right, but that's for different reasons. Because we're a little loaded, you know what I mean? I had to get over it again.
So we have a lot of people that are listening from being incarcerated right now. If they want to, what happens when they call your organization and they're getting out of jail or prison?
So usually what happens, like with DLC clients, we kind of are in touch with their case managers. So they send us a file over first to let us know they'll be released, so we can already have them set up before they hit the ground running. And then with parole, we'll go in there the day they get released and get them before they hit the streets, because you know how it is with relapsing and stuff like that. If you give me time and don't help me in that time, I got 72 hours before I go out there and find something. Mm-hmm. And so we try to make sure that doesn't happen.
And they're right as they get out.
Right as they get out.
Not giving them a chance to get pulled back in.
Right.
So we got a special listener right now. We got Watik Abdul Alim. What he is for the City Council of Aurora. He is the veterans representative. Okay. And he works with an organization called Warriors Now. I'm sure he would like to know about your organization. Do you have any veteran services? And do you help with the veterans that are coming out of incarceration? And what does that look like?
Well, as of right now, we just we're partnered with the VOA, so we kind of send our veterans that way. But if they want something for time being, as far as a job or school or anything like that, we hook them up with that immediately.
Okay.
So we're growing. We've been in business only 3 years, so we're kind of expanding. We just got our third location, and so we're moving. It's growing.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Watik's an entrepreneur, so he knows exactly where you're coming from on that. And I know that he loves to support Black-owned businesses, Black-owned foundations, so I just wanted to give him a shout-out and get you guys connected on that situation. Yeah, you're right up there. You know, this
Oh, okay. Hello. I thought I was on both of them. Sorry. Hello.
I'm really blown back on how things are going for you. It's 3 years.
Also,
Go
I
ahead.
don't want to interrupt you.
Do your thing.
But even with the immigrants that are coming out, I'm really passionate about those because my parents were immigrants as well. So my dad did 24 years in prison. And when he got out, he really, because he don't speak English or none of that, he really didn't have no guidance or direction. So we helped them as well. Bilingual, first language. So I'm able to help them transition as well.
Awesome.
Do you work only with DOC clients, or do you work with parolees as well?
Anybody has a criminal background or anybody is dealing with sobriety issues, anybody. I don't turn anybody away. Okay. And even if you don't have a criminal background or you're not dealing with sobriety, if you come my way, I'll still help you too.
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
What is the number to reach you guys at?
720-397-7236, and that's my personal cell. I put that out there.
You just put it to 400,000
yeah,
people.
that's fine. That's fine.
What is it one more time? 720?
720-397-7236.
How long have you been in recovery now?
I would say since about 31. So I'm 41, about 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, we about the same area. You got a question on here. So we have a friend, Raquel, that's on here, and she's asking, question about the homeless population. Is there a way you help the homeless, and what does that look like?
As of right now, I'm not helping the homeless because I'm in deliberations with everybody, every room I go into, every town hall meeting or whatever, trying to do something about the homeless because, like I said, when I got caught and I lost my son, I had some struggling there. And so he grew up in the system as well. And then I got custody back of him when he was 14. But that relationship is kind of tainted, and I'm still working on that. So he chooses not to be with me. So he's actually in the streets, is homeless. So I take him food, I give him money and all that. But our relationship, I'm still trying to repair that. So I'm so passionate about the homeless because I got all types of walks of life over here, that I want to help people because my son is one of those people. And so if I can make a difference for him and the people that he's out there with, that would do something for me. So
Absolutely. So
I'm working on it.
I get it. I get. That's a very, very. Me and Nani have extensive conversations about the homeless population because you have to surround it about the resources that you have. Chronically homeless is a very, very, very expensive, focused type of program. You have people that they have checked out and they do not want a roof over their head. And they've decided that the system and the day-to-day life of a civilian is not for them. So that's going to take a while, and that's going to take some resources to get there.
And then my son is a schizophrenic, so I was trying to get him help, and the police was like, well, first, he's got to admit he needs the help. A person that's dealing with, they're not really ready to admit they need help. Right. And so I'm like, me being his mom, that's not enough. And they're like, no. So the homeless situation is a lot. It has a lot of challenges in there.
Exactly. With mental health, drug addiction, some people get into drug addiction like methamphetamine is predominant out there because, especially with females, because they got to stay up all night so they don't get hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of different nuances on those different things. You have people that are couch surfing that are under 2 years that you can really work with a whole lot quicker. So really, when you have a family member out there, listeners, understand their situation, then you can investigate the organization on where to properly place them to go get help. Because just because they say, like us, we don't work with chronically homeless, but there's a level of homelessness that we do work with that are people that are coming out of incarceration. The people that have been couch surfing and running on the run.
Right.
I remember running for 9 months, and then 2 weeks I come back into town and I'm locked up. You know what I mean? Saying I'm not homeless, but I was homeless. I was just running around the streets. You know, I was the best dressed homeless guy, at least I thought.
But we
You know
are,
what I mean? But
but we are partnered with Urban Peak. So like with our
Okay.
youth that are homeless and stuff like that, I referred them to shelters, Urban Peak and stuff like that. And then
Okay.
some of our population, like you said, coming out of DOC, if they're not ready to go into a sober living, we do call shelters and stuff like that.
Yes.
One of my team members, Ken, was just at a facility trying to get them registered in shelters and stuff like that. So we do work with some of this homeless population, but I want to get them to where they're in their own apartment, where they're being monitored, where they're taking meds, and if they need to, you know, and having a little bit of structure that way.
yeah, you know, and it's funny how we learn about these organizations. I need to get this person that I know that's on this. I have a friend of mine that just had to put his mother into a hybrid type of sober living, because we have another population that ends up homeless, and this is where you get really caught in the weeds. Is she's over 65, she has multiple health problems, and she's a drinker with benzos. So there's not a lot of places to put her. Not even a hospitalization will get there. But we found an organization that has nursing, that has a emphasis on mental health and recovery, and she's thriving. I didn't even know it existed until we, you know, at the end, we thought we were going to lose her, and now she's great. You know what I mean?
That's
With those
good.
types of situations. That's what, it's crazy. Like one time you'll think that you know everything, and like Las Vegas. I'm learning Las Vegas, man.
Nah.
Whew. You think you know recovery till you walk the streets of Las Vegas, man. It's going to show you something different. It's way different. You know, and it feels like that I'm in my first year of recovery again. I feel, you know, Nani's been out there with me. It's there's a stare in their eyes, right?
Yeah,
There's a different
different
type of hopelessness that's out there. That's it's scary. It's like God has not been there in a while, or there's just some type of blinder that they're just not seeing. And then you start really looking at the scope of that. And you know, I've traveled all over the country. I've probably put I've been to 36 states doing interventions in my career. I've been all over the place, flying, driving, snow, whatever, you know, a lot of stuff I had to stop doing, promised my wife. I mean, the last one I did in downtown LA scared the hell out of her, so I had to kind of hang it up from there and just be an executive. But at that point, you know, getting back to my roots and talking to her about what I do in Las Vegas now, getting back to seeing what the people need. We need more of you that are out there, that are actually boots on the ground, like your organization, that actually know, because we don't know everything, and we do need to connect our community with the right people, because I know I'm not a fit for everybody, and you're not a fit for everybody. Nani might be that fit. You know, a lot of stuff I learned from Slim on the opportunity to be a better professional, on, you know, man, courage I learned from Slim. Can you imagine? I always say this, when the day that he got into recovery, y'all, he didn't even tell his boss, and we said this to the last radio station, he'll get more on it. He walked in this studio and told everybody on the radio that he had a drinking problem, and he's going to hold himself accountable, and he's going to do something about it. You know what I mean?
Give that man his flowers.
That right there is some courage, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's not a lot of radio station slots out there. You got to fight for these slots.
I had to risk my job on that one, because it was I was risking my life already. You know, like I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't made a change almost 7 years ago. I'd be dead. I would have drank myself to death, if not overdosed on some kind of drug, because alcohol was my gateway to everything else. So I had to put it out there to hold myself responsible, to have people be able to point their finger at me. So
That's amazing.
And how did that feel? Like when you
Real.
walking in your
it was-
boss's office and being nervous, were you received, and how did it feel after?
It was a relief for me to be able to tell everybody what I was going through, because it kind of, like, I had to hold myself responsible, you know. But when it came to my boss and so on, I could care less. I literally, like, I was so beat up.
down.
I was so beat up and hurt that Like, if I had to do this for me, and if they weren't going to accept, that I just told everybody on the radio, hey, your afternoon host is an alcoholic and has some serious problems, if they weren't going to accept that, then they didn't need me here, because I couldn't do the job anyway where I was at that point. I was a hot mess on their radio airwaves, and if you expected me to continue to work here, I had to tell everybody what was going on, because I wasn't going to be here.
But just like he gave you courage and stuff like that, whoever heard it that day had some too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so that moved. He gave the realness, the rawness, and then gave relatability. Because some people were scared to make that move, and he might have just opened that door.
Well, that's what this program is just what I did that day. You just did it today. You told people, hey, this is me. I'm Josie Burton, and I've dealt with addiction. I've dealt with traumatic things happening to me. I've dealt with incarceration,
sexual abuse, all that.
Yep, and I'm still here, and I'm telling you these things because I'm hoping that me telling you what I've been through might help somebody else. So you just did it too. Sitting down here, I know you were nervous when you sat down. Probably didn't know where you were going to start or what you were going to say or how it would all turn out.
You're right.
And I'm hoping that right now you're going, man, I'm glad I did this. And I'm really hoping that it's reaching one person out there, a man, a woman, somebody who's not locked up, somebody who is locked up. But if you're sitting there and you're suffering or dealing with a family member that's suffering, hopefully the words that Josie has shared today makes you go, you know what, there's hope. There's hope, and there's people out there that care about me, and there's people out there that want to help me and don't want to see me continue to suffer.
That's right.
Because somebody right now is suffering. They're in jail, and they're like, man, I've been locked up for so many years. I'm going to get out. I don't know what I'm going to do when I get out. Do I just go back to my addiction? Do I go back to my crimes? What am I going to do? Oh, wait a minute. I can call the next chapter, and they're going to hold my hand, basically.
Yes.
They're going to tell me, all right, so you need a toothbrush. We're going to get you that. You need these things to get your job started. We're going to get you that. You need a roof over your head to get you started. We're going to get you that. You're looking for a job. We're
Let
going
us
to
help you
you
with
get,
your next chapter.
Get that. Right now you are lost and confused. You think nobody has your back. Somebody has your back.
And she's star-studded right now, because I got to give a shout-out to Alexander Cortez out there. Now you got Las Vegas Strong looking at you out there, because he is in the streets. You had Watique here, like everybody on this show right now. They're hearing all about your organization. You know what I mean? Shout out to Alexander out there and Vegas Stronger. They do some great work, and I mean, wow, it's just like, you want to get your name out there, you got it. You got to cross states now, young lady. You know what I mean?
I'm willing.
Yeah. And we got another Vegas. Mr. Cross is in there right now too, and he's like Denver, Vegas.
Bring me down.
Yeah.
So the next chapter, the NXT chapter, and the website is NXTChapter, CHAPTR, no E, CHAPTR.org, right?
ER.
ER. So there is an E.
Yeah, not in next though.
Oh, not in next. Duh. Now it makes sense. That's right. There's no A in the next. I'm finally with you.
Yeah.
NXTchapter.org.
Yes.
I'm the hood end.
For the website.
He's the proper end, everybody. He helps me spell my own name sometimes and gets very mad if I do it wrong.
So
You see what he did to that mic.
He did. He like Walter Brothers.
So Mahi, in the middle of this show, for those that aren't watching online, I got up, I moved over to Tomas, and I moved his mic in front of his mouth, because Tomas does not understand how a microphone works and that you need to talk into it. And we have been doing this for 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. But they've been putting up with me for about 30 years because I've been following them around. I was kind of like the little brother of the radio DJs, him and Kingdom and everybody else. So they've been kind of doing that big brother thing with me, so I'm cool with it. Move the mic if you want. Go ahead.
So, real quick, as we start to wrap up here, you guys have your really a bunch of mission statements, but really 3, which is to provide essential, tangible items to people coming out of incarceration, educational and employment resources, so help them learn what they need to know and get the job that they need to get themselves back as a contributing member of society, and then a support system preparations,
And
which
then
are
we have
release
a support
plans.
group that's on Thursdays from 6 to 8, and that's just to help them with any obstacles or challenges they're facing after leaving incarceration, and it's on Zoom or Google Meets, so you don't even have to come. We could just meet on there and coach you through this, whatever you're going through. So.
Okay. So if you're listening right now and you are locked up at this moment, I want you to think about calling the NXT chapter when you get out. If you're a family member of somebody who is currently incarcerated and you're like, man, they need help when they get out. I need a plan for my friend or my family member when they get out. Give them a call, 720-397-7236, and give the NXT chapter a call.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, Josie, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Come
Let me
on.
get my story out there.
Come on, girl. So you're now part of the Sharing Our Story family.
Okay.
So that means in the future, we're going to have you come back in and do this again.
Okay.
Because there's people that are listening today, but there's people that aren't listening today.
Yeah.
And those people that aren't listening today, hopefully are listening next time.
Right.
Because we got to help our brothers and sisters when they get out.
Period.
Yes.
Period. Right.
And I'd like to give out a shout out to the Perez family for Devano. Devano was a guest here.
We just lost another person this past week.
Heart out to his sisters, his mom, his second mom out there, the family. They're going through it, and it's really, really, really a sad situation. So please, if you are struggling right now, no matter old or young, pick up the phone, do something, save your life, have that courage that we're talking about. Reach out to Josie. If you resonate with Josie, you just heard her give her cell phone number to 400,000 people.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And please do that as soon as possible, because it's just it's the worst feeling on earth to be an advocate, to be a family member, to be a friend, to watch a family member lose somebody like that and have to go through that. Please save your life. You only got one, and you're not promised every chance, and you got one right now. So pick up that phone.
The number for Josie and the next chapter, once again, is 720-397-7236. Our guest has been Josie Burton from Denver, the NXT chapter. That's NXT, no E, chapter.org. I've got it right. I want to thank you so much for being our guest today, Josie. I appreciate you. All right, big hugs when we get off of here. Mile High, if you are struggling in addiction, give Josie a call. Like I said, 720-397-7236. You can also reach out to Tribe Recovery Homes at 720-60-TRIBE. If you're like, I don't want to call anybody, Google addiction recovery. Pick up the phone. It's really just Google recovery. Put your zip code in there. I bet you find a meeting near you right away and a place where you can start.
Yeah. And you can even do something on the page of Slim. Get on social media and say, hey, I need help.
Yep.
I'm sure somebody's going to pop up that you don't even know that you knew, that's going to DM you with the right stuff instead of the wrong stuff that you're always doing. You know what I mean? Just say, hey, I need help.
Yep.
I'm struggling right now. Is there anybody out there can help me?
I tell you, people in recovery love you and want to help you. If you're in addiction, we always hear, like, we are your support system. And that's, I guarantee you, everybody in recovery always wants to jump to help you. It's part of our giving back. It's part of our recovery. So Mile High, this is Sharing Our Stories. Our guest today, Josie Burton from Denver. You can find this program at flowdenver.com and also at jammin1015.com. Follow Tomas Hernandez on Facebook, and you can watch this program when we record it live on Facebook. You can drop your notes into the chat and ask your questions when we have our guests here. Josie Burton from Denver, the next chapter, has been our guest today here on Sharing Our Stories. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will be back next week here on Sharing Our Stories.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here.